Good morning. This is QTV This Morning. I am Ibrahim Abalde. Thank you very much for joining us wherever you are. Of course, we are back again on another edition of your favorite morning program. If you are a new viewer on this platform, this is where we talk about a lot of things. We review newspapers from the various papers we have in the Gambia, and we also deal with stories in and beyond our borders. So thank you very much. We're broadcasting from the Gambia, West Africa, Serekunda, QCell Avenue. Thank you. And I am with Mr. Adedrame as the co-host of this program. Mr. Ade, good morning.
Good morning. And as you said, QCell Avenue. And is it true that this show didn't happen yesterday? I wonder why. What happened yesterday?
There was even a bigger platform.
There was? Oh, okay.
There was even
anyway,
a bigger platform.
It's great to be back here. And we have our newspaper review guest, Mr. Balamusa Kurbali, Head of Programs. Mr. Kurbali, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Mr. Drame. Good morning to you, and morning to Mr. Balde. I think now the tone to change from broadcasting in the Gambia along the Caraba Avenue to broadcasting in the Gambia on QCell Avenue and behind the only smart building in the Gambia. I think we should change to that moving forward.
It's a bit
Good morning.
long.
It's a pleasure to be here once more. Once again, sorry. Yeah.
No, man. Great to have you
So
here.
it's good to be back. I'll just take you through our program running order. We'll be looking at the African code. From the code, then we will do the newspaper review with Balamusa Kurbali. And of course, Q Group launches data center and fiber. So we'll be talking to Amacham, Chief Technical Officer, QCell. And of course, UTG 2026 convocation. And we'll be talking to Dr. Lang Sanyang, Chairman, UTG Convocation Ceremony. And of course, Dr. Hadi Tunkaraba, Senior Lecturer, Department of Nursing, Reproduction Health Committee member. So that will be our program for today. So we're calling on sponsors. If you are interested to partner with us on this platform, the number to call is 3244444. Or you can send an email to marketing@qtv.gm. So anything that we market on this platform will definitely sell. Let's take a look at the code. Even the smallest star shines in the darkest night. That's the code for today. Even the smallest star shines in the darkest night. Yeah, so let's allow Balamusa to delve into that.
I'm glad you've allowed him.
We would really like to. We would really like to hear from you. What is your understanding?
Even the smallest star
Shines in the darkest night.
Wow. Anyway, I'll put it this way. I guess we'll all have our different opinions on it.
Yeah.
For me, it's all about teamwork. For me, I believe, no matter whatever you are into as a group, I believe everyone's efforts count. Like this morning, I was teaching Mjalo. I'll use that. I told him, everybody's contribution counts. I said everyone with his or her own skills or job, everyone knows what to do. I told him, if the cleaner didn't clean here, we will not be sitting here because this place will be dirty, So take an example, if the security is not here to keep this place secure and all that, we won't be here. So no matter how much you are in a team, you are a team because everyone has a little input.
Yeah.
You are a team because everyone has something that they do. Even if Ade is doing 90% of the job, Balde is doing 1% and I am doing 2% or 3%, all those percentages added together it's what gives us 100. So added 100% will 90%. If the other 10% is missing, we will not have the whatever we are doing. We will not have the conclusion as we want it to be. So for me, I take it that way. Like efforts, contributions. Every little effort counts.
Is a good one. Yeah, I mean, it's like people talk about a strong chain only being as strong as its weakest link.
Yeah.
So you could build the biggest, strongest chain. And yet, if the tiny link to link this big chain to that big chain is missing,
it ceases to be a strong chain.
It ceases to be a strong chain. And so, that is needed to link the two, and then you have the complete thing.
When
Otherwise, it's
OJ
incomplete.
said, the late OJ, blessed memory, the former politician, he said, okay, they said we are small as a party, PPP. Let's take a good example. There is a well that is deep 25 meters, and you need 25 meters rope to get to the water. And you got 10. You 10. And I have my 5 sitting and waiting for you. So 2020, you cannot still get to the water. You need my 5.
No matter how big you are, you need that small 5.
You need my 5 so that we can be able to.
That's why we have coalition building.
Yes. So he said, people that are saying those small parties, they are not relevant. They just don't know what to say. So
it's just that our system, like our electoral system, forced by the polls. If it was in other countries where you have about is 51 plus or 50 plus 1, something like that?
50 plus 1.
50 plus 1.
50
all these little parties, they are very important in that system because, you go to the first round, you can all go your separate ways, but second round, you need all the 10%, the 2%, the 3% to come together to add to your 45% to give you the 50 plus.
So let's take a look at it literally on our local settings. Sometimes there are people that we might look at them, okay, what they are doing is not very, but once they didn't do that again, you can feel that gap. You understand? I can remember when I was a very small boy, I used to ride my bicycle from Bundung, Farokono, to Latrikunda Primary School.
That's like a couple of years ago.
Yes, that's around, that's in the 90s,
yes, okay,
So what happened is, there was a guy, all the time if I go, he will graze my bicycle chain for me, and he will do all
put
those
grease on it.
Yes.
I was very good at that.
And put the...
Your grandfather,
yes, my grandfather, Korka, yes, he does that around the hospital for many, many years. So this guy will do this, so I'll just take it for granted. But there was a time I didn't meet the man there, and I needed him to repair my bike.
Wow.
But you see how important he was at that location.
But you're a driver, you have a vehicle. Take an example. Your car, as big as the engine is. This morning I was having a conversation with someone just before coming here. He gave that perfect example, and I'm happy that just links to what we're talking about. No matter how big your engine is, there's something tiny that will miss in there. Your engine won't start.
My brother, let the radiator not work.
Never mind. One of the small.
It's even big.
Listen, never mind that. One of the smallest things you have
the
is
water
the key.
pump.
The key.
Or the ignition.
Just the ignition key.
Yes.
You can have your big
or
car.
Your spark plug coil.
And you don't have the key.
Or maybe one fuse, is faulty. So that shows you every component, in that car counts or contributes to having
life
it
called
a car or whatever.
Life is like a car. So it's important, for us to view it that way. Every person, every team member, your input is very significant.
And it's
no matter what. Elijah is sitting here, and with the cameras in front of us. Obviously, she plays a very significant role. It's a combination effort. You are seeing the the program coming on TV, but you didn't see the background. What's
Those
happening?
That are behind this
you understand? The director is there, the sound crew is there, the visual, audio, visual. Everybody is doing their job. You understand? So it's very important.
It's about valuing people as well. Because Bala Musa used the perfect example. He said if the cleaners didn't come and clean here. And so, people, when you get to a certain level, don't look down on anybody.
Absolutely.
Because that person's contribution to making you perform well and so on. For example, if we came in the morning and the cleaners had not come and removed all the rubbish from overnight, the offices would smell, the atmosphere would not be conducive to working. They're as important as anybody. And we should always have that in mind, really. And it's like, we talk about the smallest star shines in the darkest night. That's, as Bala Musa gave the perfect example.
Absolutely. If there is still time. Remember, we were talking about Cristiano Ronaldo. I can remember
and a
you
team.
and I. And we were like, there was this guy said, no, the fact that Chris is there, any team he's in is fine. We were like, Mr. Ade was like, no.
remove the other 10 players and see if
allow Chris to play alone.
He's not going to perform.
He can't spark.
That's it. So teamwork and value everybody
in
that team. Everybody being part of that team has an input. And the input there, it's important. That's why they are there.
That's right.
Yeah, it's very important. Value, and people need to feel wanted whenever they are doing a job. And people need to feel, okay, I'm valued. I mean, I'm appreciated. That is very important. It motivates people as well. Okay. Yeah, so this is QTV This Morning. I am Ibrahim Abalde. I'm with Mr. Adedrame. And of course, Bala Musa Kurbali as the newspaper review guest of this program. We are about to delve into the newspapers after the break. We'll be back.
Join the biggest network with the cheapest tariff in the Gambia and enjoy crystal clear calls and super fast internet at the cheapest tariff only with QCell. Rush now and grab your free QCell SIM card today from any of our care centers near you. QCell, the biggest network with the cheapest tariff. QCell Senior Boss. We innovate, others follow.
Q Money is changing the game with mobile money payment. Now, you can pay your QCell mobile broadband plan faster, easier, and way more convenient with your Q Money wallet. Just open the Q Money app or dial *323#, select option 4 to buy or pay your broadband plan in seconds. No stress, no lines, no last-minute panic. Whether you're streaming your favorite shows, browsing the web, or working from home, stay connected without missing a beat. Stay connected the easy way with QMoney's QCell mobile broadband payments anytime, anywhere. For more information, call customer care on 133. QMoney, Senior Carpet. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, this is QTV This Morning. Just a reminder, I mean, we are broadcasting from the Gambia and we are on QCell Avenue in Serekunda. Let's take a look at the Standard newspaper, Mr. Adedrame.
Yes.
I am not going to start with the Standard newspaper. I'm going to start with Observer 24 because we need to talk about the launch of the Smart House.
Well, you could have started with Standard newspaper because they do have it.
Yeah, but I need a bigger headline. Yeah.
So which one do you want?
I think it is visible and of an observer.
Q Group House inaugurated as President Barrow and CEO Mohamed Jah highlights private sector-led growth.
Yeah, I mean, most people who have an interest in the Gambia would have watched it because we carried it, lots of other media carried it, it was on radio. You could hardly escape it. And, you know, for good reason, because it was a big event, not just because we belong to the Q Group, but because of what it entails, you know, this smart building. But also in his speech, the president made the point. He said, we as a government can create an enabling environment. But it's not for us to go out there and start creating jobs. You know, we've loosened the reins, taken off the handcuffs, whichever analogy you want to use, and now it's for private sector to grasp, you know, these opportunities and say, okay, now the ground is clear, we can create jobs. Look at the Q Group, thousands and thousands of jobs, not just here.
Yeah, most of the time you will hear people in their conversation, I mean, the government, we need jobs, we need to do this and that, but at the end of the time, you will wonder, how can the government create jobs for each and every person? Of course, it's their responsibility to do the enabling environment. I mean, for there to be a level playing ground so that people can be able to set up certain things and acquire jobs for themselves. You know, but President Adama Barrow highlighted a very significant message yesterday. The government, this is what we do. I mean, to make sure you know, we level the environment for people to be able to invest and create jobs for people.
And nobody is stopped. And you know,
but it was really a very colorful environment. We painted the town red.
Orange.
Yes. I will take
literally.
You take red.
No, I will take orange.
Okay.
We painted the town orange.
Orange. Okay.
Yes, I will take that.
I think that was what happened. But anyway, I think like you both said, this is what the government, you know, usually this is what they do: create the enabling environment for private sector to strive and grow. And I think the Q Group over the years have shown that a private sector-led investment can, you know, bring a lot of good and a lot of development in this country. Because when you look at the Q Group from the inception to date, it has always been innovative. You know, when you look at some of the businesses that they are into, they always strive to bring the best for the Gambia. You know, looking at the coming of QCell, when no one thought Gambians will have access to internet, 3G internet. They brought it. 4G, the first to bring it, 5G, and now, the Q Group house, not just a building, but a building that has, features that most of us see when we travel outside of the Gambia. Now we see that in our own country. I think this is a big win for the Gambia. And I'm sure yesterday I was online. When I went home, I spent about 3 hours just scrolling online to see, how people appreciate this, or how the different views people have about it. But it has been positive. Gambians are happy that, they are seeing things like this in their country. And as all of us, as people who are employed by the Q Group, we are also very, very proud to associate ourselves with the group. We see how the group is growing, but not just growing for the group itself, but for the country. All this investment. Look at the QCell Avenue. You heard what the old woman said yesterday, the woman who spoke on behalf of the residents here. She's been living there
for how many years?
When I came, you showed me the video before even the construction started, and when the construction started, and now. And those who watched the QTV news last night, I believe, saw it. So, this is what development is. The government can't do it alone. They need private sector to come on board. And Q Group have been championing this, always. And in terms of national development, Q Group has always done a quarter. Look at the OIC summit when the government needed help. The Q Group came through QuantumNet, Espas Motors, stepped in. The KMC, when you see a lot of people, praising KMC today with regards to the garbage collection and all that, thanks to Q Group, with the trucks. You have the Kerewan Area Council now has it, Brikama Area Council, and a lot more. And most recently, maybe some people are not aware, Q Group through QuantumNet, that is Samsung, also provide high or let's say high standard equipments or lab equipment to the University of the Gambia. And even you said, all the the decks there and all that were made by Espas Motors through the fabrication department or unit. So there are a lot of things that the Q Group have been doing when it comes to national development. But also, I like the fact that Chairman mentioned this. He's proud when he sees Gambians coming forward to take ownership of whatever is happening in this country, most especially in the development or the growth of our economy. He takes examples of Jawel. He said he's proud to see Jawel also going into the cement, trying to take ownership. So Gambians have to take ownership of our economy. We should not just lay back and allow other people to take charge of our economy. We see what it costs in other countries.
Absolutely.
So in the Gambia, I think the future is bright. If the government open up more for the private sector, there's a lot that can be done.
There's a form of saying, when two brothers fight, a stranger takes over their land. So it's important for us to, focus on growth and development. But I'd also like to highlight, how Adama Barrow's government, made it very easy, for most of these investors in the Gambia. When you look at, since he took over, power, you can see the level of investment have rised in the Gambia, and at the same time, the infrastructure of this country is changing. So you cannot do that without a peaceful, enabling environment that can propel growth and development.
Yeah, you're right, and I like what Bala said, that most of the comments have been positive, because there was one which wasn't, and I responded to the person. Because the person, and it shows the kind of mentality that we have to change in this country. The person did not believe that a smart building could exist in the Gambia. And I said, you know what, you're free. Kairaba Avenue, QCell Avenue, come and visit us. He said, it's just an empty building. I said, no, come. If you're in the Gambia, come. Because he commented on your page, on the QTV page, because after you posted, and I said, no. I said, look, I said, talk is cheap. I said, it's the kind of small-minded mentality that says this kind of thing cannot happen in the Gambia.
I think those kind of comments, if I were you, I would not even have replied.
No. But the thing is,
we have to challenge it.
Understand it this way, like, the Gambia, these are things that they haven't seen in this country before. They see it outside. Maybe some people who haven't traveled, they just see it on movies or on television. Now they're seeing it in the Gambia. Like, it's hard to believe, but it is happening. Like I said, the coming of the Q Group with the 3G, with the 4G, with the 5G. These are things that we never had in this country, and it came in the country through the Q Group, through QCell. So these things are things that people will have. But there is one eventually thing. They come
there is
on. That's the reality.
And the reason I respond to those comments is that when somebody writes that nonsense and then people start liking it, you know that other people are of the same mind.
But if the Q Group tells you, I am going to do this, and I've done this.
And I'm sure
You have to
Gambians
believe.
believe that already.
Yeah, well,
because
yeah.
over the
You have to
years,
believe.
that is what the Q Group have been.
Well, indeed.
Anything that we say, we've brought 5G. You know, a lot of things we said about now. Nobody will
But
say
when you,
we don't have
when,
the
when,
fastest
when you,
5G
when
in
you
this
look
country.
at the
We do.
structure,
And don't worry, Ahmad is going
when
to come
you
and
look
join
at the
us.
structure, the
And he will-
infrastructure of this building,
Yeah.
you will know it's not like any other building.
And but the one
It's-
thing we should
it's
be proud
totally
of also
different
is
thing,
that,
yeah.
you know, we've always seen, we have Gambians who worked outside the Gambia, you know, through UN agencies, other private sectors, but those are not Gambian companies. So
Yeah,
now we
right.
see Gambians,
Yeah.
we now have Gambian companies operating outside the borders of the Gambia. And Gambians, you know, let's say Gambians intellectuals or Gambians experts being exported out of the borders of the Gambia to go and work for Gambian companies. So all these things
Well,
are
I think
positive.
now is high time for us to start getting,
It's a
you know,
mindset
changing
change.
that type of mentality
Yeah.
that we cannot have such things in the Gambia.
I mean, the fact that,
Boy,
the fact that
you
somebody
go to
could
other
comment
countries,
like that.
you meet the infrastructural development, you know, and you'll be surprised.
Yeah.
But you were in China, you've seen the development there, you know.
Please.
So I think it's important for us to support what belongs to us as a people.
No, but like we always say, you know, the foundation for every development is infrastructure.
Yeah.
That's why, you know, we always talk about here the roads and all that. When people try to downplay it, we are like, no. You go to other countries, you see the beautiful roads, you see the buildings, you come here like, oh, this country is developed. Is that the start? It's a process.
That
Starts
is
from the
how-
roads to
And
the
when
buildings.
we're
So
trying
now,
to start it, you say,
so
oh,
now
we
we're
can't
seeing,
eat roads.
now we're seeing
I am
those
pretty
roads,
sure.
and we're seeing these
I am pretty
buildings.
sure
You know,
there'll be a lot of avenues again.
absolutely. Yeah.
And, you know, that comes with development.
Well, that's the challenge that we threw down at the end of
imagine
yesterday's report.
having, you know, maybe 15, 25 QCell Avenue, sort of
you know,
QCell Avenue,
yeah.
with other people as well.
Yeah.
So it will be. So what we do, we innovate and others follow all the
That's
time.
this. Yeah,
So we inspire and people follow.
Yeah, because at the end of the report yesterday about QCell Avenue, because over the years since I came here, I've always videoed that street. Which is now QCell in the rain and so on. And so we were able to use that in the video to see, so people could see, because during the speech yesterday I said, I have the pictures to prove what this used to look like. And now you can see what it looks like. So we included those videos and photographs.
I saw that.
And the difference is remarkable.
Absolutely.
And we need to show people that, you know, this is what is possible. But we ended the report by saying maybe this will inspire others to actually, there are what, 25 roads off Kairaba Avenue? And I think this is the only one that has a proper name.
Oh, you see?
Avenue.
And we've been talking about proper names.
Yeah.
You know, there was a guy I was with yesterday, and I said to the guy, do you know we have an underground parking here? There's a parking lot. And he said, where? I said, under the building. Under the building. He was like, really? You have a parking lot there? You know, so I think we were also mentioning all the futures because we are excited and we forget to mention the parking. Underground parking.
The features are many, and I saw the chairman was showing the president the underground car park and explaining it to him.
So viewers, we apologize. I mean, QCell no hewle.
No apology. No apology.
So I mean, I know we are not delving into other stories. We just want to do our
But by the way, that is the
story.
big story today. All the newspapers, that's on the front
every
page.
newspaper is carried on
so
the front.
it's the big story.
It's true. It's
Yeah. So, I mean, we've exhausted this paper already.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we are wrapping up already.
That's the big story, no
Thank
problem.
You. Thank you very
It's
much,
not a
Bala,
problem. It's not a
for
problem.
reviewing the papers with us. We'll catch up next week.
Inshallah.
Again, on the same platform.
Okay.
You know. Viewers, will be right back after the break. Then we'll talk about Q Group Launch Data Center and Q Fiber. So we'll be talking to Ahmad Jah, Chief Technical Officer. QCell. We'll be back.
And join the world of digital SIM cards. Customers with physical SIMs can easily switch to the eSIM as well. So rush now and get connected with an eSIM and start using the latest mobile technology with your trusted GSM operator. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sinubus. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Gambia, are you ready for something big?
From your trusted GSM operator, QCell, your favorite app just got a major upgrade.
From your phone to the world, buy credit, buy Sunu bundle packages, loan credit with eFankanta, and buy Q Power all in one place.
And here's the real upgrade. Q Money is now fully integrated in the app. Send money, pay bills, save money so faster and easier than ever.
And for our entertainment lovers, stream QTV, Q Radio Live anytime, anywhere.
But that's not all. This upgrade also brings enhanced security features, smoother performance, and a brand new interface designed to save your time.
This is more than an app.
This is freedom at your fingertips.
Download the new QCell app today and unlock your digital life.
For more information, call our customer care on 111.
QCell, Sunibus. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
This is QTV This Morning. I am Ibrahim Obal. My viewers are saying you're too comfortable on that chair. Let me just sit up straight before I sleep.
Are you supposed to be uncomfortable, or did you look like you were nodding off?
They just don't want me to sleep.
They don't want you to sleep.
Although
I won't let you sleep.
Is so comfortable.
I will slap your head if you look like you're going to sleep.
Yeah, so Q Group launches data center and Q Fiber. So we'll be talking to the Chief Technical Officer of QCell, Mr. Ahmad Jah. Not Mohammed Jah, but Ahmad Jah. Yes. So good morning, Ahmad. It's good to have you.
Good morning, Balde. Thank you, Balde and Ade, for having me on the show.
It's a pleasure.
It's always a pleasure to.
And we have to start by congratulating you.
Thank you.
And really, like we were saying before you came on, this is such a game changer that it's actually, people need a kind of change of mindset to accept that this has happened in the Gambia, because we're not used to it. So please tell us. For example, one guy called me and said, "What's a data center?"
Yeah, so
And the floor is yours.
Yeah, try. Thank you.
for businesses and individuals, we would like to know.
Yeah,
True.
please. Yeah.
So I will try to demystify,
Yeah,
what is
please.
the cloud, and also what the Q Fiber, is going to bring. And I'll give you some example of use cases
Yeah, please.
that people can actually use.
Yeah.
There are a lot of opportunities. But to start, really, I want to say that the statement, we innovate and all others follow, is not just a statement. This is a fact, and this is what we've been doing since in the beginning. We've started with 3G, 4G, 5G. Now we have launched the Q Fiber, and now the data center. Now, it is not just a data center. This is the Gambia's digital infrastructure for the new economy. You can look at it like that. Now, people can actually store their data here within the Gambia, and they don't need to invest that much, into infrastructure. You know how expensive it is to build even an IT infrastructure locally to make sure that it is always powered on and have all the resources you need. It's a very heavy investment. Now, people don't need to do that per se.
Yeah. So what was, because the question, in fact, the guy was in the office last night, and he said, and he used the term, he said, Little Gambia. He said, how did somebody have the idea to do such a thing in the Gambia when bigger countries than ours in Africa don't have their own data center? He said, what was the thinking that led to this? So tell us, what was the journey?
Well, actually, this is actually a very deep strategic move for QCell and for the country. So basically, for us, as the CTO, I'm always looking forward into, what kind of solutions can we bring to solve major problems that we have. Now, having the data center here, really, now, it's going to solve a lot of problems. Now, the government have started now bringing Data Protection Act.
Indeed, yes.
All of those things are coming in. Yeah. So compliance is going to be very important moving forward when we talk about banks, healthcare, even when we talk about government institutions, when it comes to public data. So all of those things are going to be important. Now, if we have the facility here in the Gambia, so that means that we don't have to worry about storing data abroad. If we store data abroad, there are a lot of risks, you can get into when storing data abroad. One of the most important one is that you don't really know where your data resides. And also, you are also exposing yourself for external, the external law, like it's going to be another country. Wherever your data is in that country, you are susceptible to that law. So that means that to the authority of that country that where your data is reside. So it's no longer yours is in Gambia. It's not under your control. So this is something which is very important. Now, also just to explain for people to understand when we say cloud and when we say data center. So basically the data center is the facility itself where we're storing computing resources.
The establishment.
The
and
establishment.
people can see on the screen.
So this is where we store servers, where the servers are, the network equipment, the storage, and of course the power equipment also, and very importantly cooling. So it's very expensive, you know, even to get that facility into place, you know, it's quite very expensive, and the reliability and redundancy you need to put into most of those elements in that facility, it can be quite intensive.
Okay.
So that is one thing. Now, when we talk about cloud, now, you know, when we say cloud, a lot of people would think that, okay, this is, you know, my data is flying around or is floating around somewhere in the air. You know, I can assure you that it is somewhere sitting in a data center somewhere.
Oh,
you understand? So it's not in the cloud, you know, floating. So it definitely is in a data center.
So all the data that we save and send, it's somewhere. Someone is controlling it.
Think about it. I mean, YouTube, Facebook, WhatsApp, you know, all of these, you know, important applications that we're using, they are stored in a data center, you know, where you are supposed to access those things.
Sure.
Right? So now think about it this way. Now we have the data center. Now we have cloud also, which is the service. Don't look at it as the facility.
Okay,
but the service that we put in front of the public so that they can also be able to rent or lease those computing resources, the network connectivity, as well as storage as well. So the cloud is there. Just think about this as electricity. Now, before, people used to get generators, right?
Yes.
Now, you just lease from NAWEC, and then you use it when you need it. So it's practically the same way now. You don't have to buy those whole infrastructure. You can just lease the resource you need, and then you pay for what you use when you need it. So that is what we're offering as a data center cloud when we say a public cloud. Now, there's another thing, apart from utilizing the cloud, where it is, which is called the co-location. Right, where organizations, they already have their own hardware. Like, let's say that they have their own IT infrastructure, you know, housed in their own facilities. But some of them might be encountering a lot of issues. Let's say in terms of maintaining power, you know, maintaining those servers up. So this is where it comes very handy for them to bring their hardware over to the data center, where we can give them space. We'll give them the space. We'll give them the power, you know, and everything. So they will be comfortable that, look, my system is going to be, you know, very reliable for me to accept. It's going to be always on because we designed the facility in a way that we have proper redundancy in there, and the reliability is put in place. So it's highly available.
So let's talk about expert operational. This is new to the Gambia, you know, QCell, I mean, bringing things, I mean, new things.
Before you go.
So what, okay.
You mentioned something about the kind of data sovereignty. And the reason you'll realize why. So just this week, on Monday, Ghana pulled out of a deal with the USA because the USA had insisted that the health data of any Ghanaian citizen who accesses had to be stored in America, and Ghana pulled out. And so this tells you about why we need something like this. Ghana, the president, he killed the deal on Monday.
That's true. That's true. And I totally agree. And this is where everything is moving right now. You know, data center and cloud. This is. We're not saying this is the future. It's now.
It's now. It's here.
It is now. So data sovereignty. You know, it's very important. Now we cannot trust to leave our data outside of the country, especially when you're dealing with personal data.
Quite.
You understand? It's very important for the people also to have the confidence and the trust that their data is within their country and is safe.
So sorry for interrupting.
Yes, it's all right. So let's talk about, do we have, you know, experts, I mean, people who really understand how to handle all this?
Oh yeah, of course, absolutely. I mean, in QCell here, we have a lot of expertise, you know, when it comes to data center. You know, we've already been running a carrier grade where we're hosting millions of subscribers already. So we already have the experience, you know, so it is not something new. So we're just extending that to a new service, and which is going to be a service which is going to be, you know, a national service which is going to be very beneficial, you know, to all the people around. And like you said, we have a lot of engineers that are, you know, well educated, and they have experience in this field.
Yeah, and Gambians are kind of coming more and more into this field.
Yeah.
We have the young man who built the Misinformation and Disinformation Center. I mean, that's a Gambian guy living in America, decided to come back and build that. And, you know, all his team, all 10 of them, they're all Gambians. You know, and so the talent is there, you know. Yeah.
Definitely. And just to touch on a little bit about the Q-Fiber, why the Q-Fiber is also important. It is not it is not actually a coincidence that we've built Q-Fiber and the data center and we launched it at the same time. Because they actually work hand in hand. You understand? If you have the facility, the service is there, but you don't have the proper highway, the speed, you know, actually to use those services, it doesn't make sense. Now, we have a lot of technology now. The 5G, these are all these are all wireless techs. Now, when we decided to have fiber all the way to the homes, all the way to the businesses, because fiber is the main technology now, or medium that is being used, that is the most reliable, you know, and the highest speed that you can get. And the closer you can get it to you, the better. Now, think about it this way. If, let's say, I store my data abroad somewhere and I'm using wireless is okay, but it could be erratic sometimes because it could be, you know, altered due to weather conditions, and there are a lot of things that could happen, right? And there are latencies also involved. Now, that is one key thing I forgot to tell you guys, is that latency, if you store your data abroad, obviously you will encounter some latency. Yes, it would be, that means some delay in getting to your data. So that means that if you have the fiber, you know, it's going to be much faster, and your data center is locally here in your country.
And you have
so
the
that
fiber.
means that the performance will be better as well. So, and then the fiber obviously will give you that reliability and high speed to be able to get that data, and it's all local within this country. We can call it internet.
I mean, how will individuals and companies be able to tap into the data center, the data cloud?
So this is open for all the Gambians. You know, we're not only focusing on you know, bigger institutions. You know, even, you know, let's say the youths. You know, some of these youths, you know, they might have great ideas. Now it's going to be easier for them to be able to, you know, get, you know, resources to be able to launch some of these ideas they have. It could be apps, you know. Now they have that now here available locally in the Gambia. So now it's as easy as, you know, just contacting QCell and say, look, I need, you know, to get certain resources. Like I'm saying, we're starting with infrastructure as a service. I don't want to go too much into detail, but that means that we're giving you the facility, we're giving you the computing resource, the connectivity that you need, and then the storage. Now it's up to you now to furnish. So we're giving you the facility, the building, now you furnish. But what I mean by furnishing is that you put your application on it, whatever you need to do, and make it accessible. And everything now is about content.
Indeed.
Everything is about content. Google, you know, Amazon Web Services, is all about content. Now, if we have the content local here, you know, it's easier. It doesn't matter if we have internet or not. You know, we're all connecting to the wall through a submarine cable that is going, you know, below the sea, right? So, and a lot of things could happen. And we have a single cable in the Gambia here, just to say, but the government is actually working on a second cable, which is, you know, actually very important for the Gambia. So, if that is in place, you understand, and we have, if there's a seismic event and there's a cut, and your data is abroad or your application is abroad, I'm sorry, you cannot access it anymore. But imagine if you have it here locally. It doesn't matter. Even if you don't have internet, you can access it here. And if it is local content, which is developed for Gambians here, they don't need to worry, because
and the good thing is you can just walk and come to QCell.
Exactly, and it's as easy as that.
Like the guy who I responded to yesterday, who said he didn't believe any of this was happening in the Gambia. I was like, my guy, you need to change your mindset, you know, and think that yes, Gambians can do this. And I think that is something that I think you kind of have a job on your hands, because I think it's about convincing. He said, you know, how can individuals, how can businesses access it? it's about convincing them that we have it here, and it's doable here. You don't need to go abroad, because I think that mindset needs to change.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. So it's not really about competing, you know, with the hyperscale cloud. When I talk about hyperscale, the hyperscale cloud providers, these are the Googles, the AWS. So don't look at this as we are competing with them. This is actually, we are extending, we are continuing this to local setting. You know, yes, those cloud providers, you know, they have very excellent services also as well, but our service could be looked at as a complementary. Very soon, a lot of businesses are going to be dealing with compliance, and they'll have to store their data here in the Gambia. You understand? To be compliant with the regulators. You understand? So that's why we have this infrastructure ready for those that need it.
Interesting. For Q Fiber, how will people access it? It's important for us to know. I just received a message from a viewer and said, the Q Fiber, how am I going to access it to my home?
Yeah, it's very easy. Now, the Q Fiber, you know, you can just talk to customer care straight. You know, they will be able to, you know, schedule and know your location, and probably do a survey. And then the installation is probably is pretty quick. Within 2 to 3 days, they'll get you set up and everything. Now, we've started in very strategic locations to start with, but you know, we are going into phases, and we're going to, you know, the main goal is that we're going nationwide, everywhere. You know, you understand that we want to reach all homes, all houses, you know, so that they will be able to get this fast internet and affordable internet service.
Now, one of the things that you mentioned earlier regarding the data center was about the kind of security and reliability and sustainability. And these are things that people are concerned about. Anytime anything gets launched, not just whether it's QCell or anything here.
Absolutely.
So regarding that security, because we talked about, you know, compliance with things like, you know, the new data protection and laws that we have here, they're all going to be, you know, affected by this sort of thing. How can you assure people about things like security, sustainability, and so on? Absolutely.
That's a valid concern, security. But we have designed the data center in such a way that we have enterprise-grade security implemented in it. You know, it's not only on the digital side security. Even when we talk about the layered, you know, physical security, access control, you know, all of these measures are put into place. You know, on the network, firewalling side, you know, we have all of those things, you know, ready, and it could be utilized to ensure that people are confident and they know that their data is secure. Yes, nobody can actually promise you 100% security. This is already known, even if you go to the hyperscalers. But the important thing is that you are implementing these things, you know, on your design to ensure that, you know, there is less risk, you know, of anything happening to your data.
And is it also a case that you design it for a particular country? Because it's not a kind of one size fits all. This has to be one that takes cognizance of the situation that, you know, applies here in the Gambia, and that must have gone into the planning, the design, and so on.
Exactly, exactly. And this is why we're saying that we're starting with the infrastructure as a service, which I explained. Now, as a data center, you know, there are a lot of services you can offer as well, which also include even managed services. Is part of it. You can also introduce application as a service, software as a service. So that means that even the application we are going to, you can get those applications from us rather than you getting it and then installing it, rather than just getting an environment. But these are going to be in phases, because we know that what is needed currently, really, the most critical thing is to get the infrastructure for them, so that they can start using this. And as we go, obviously, we are moving along.
So what message do you have for Gambians about embracing new digital services?
Wow, that's,
that's a big question.
I think how to explain it is, this is way of life now. It is way of life. Now everybody is depending on the internet. Everybody is depending on digital. So it's something to say that, look, if you don't, use it. If you don't do it, then you're going to be out of the ecosystem, really. So you have to embrace what is coming in, and you know, we are always looking forward as well. That's why we're always ahead of the other companies when in terms of leading in the development of these newer technologies. Because we want to make sure that the Gambians have access to these latest, you know, people are talking about abroad as well.
Yeah, and the thing is, we're embracing it already. If I want to send money to my friend in Basse, I just go to Q Money. When I first came to the Gambia, I used to drive by Q City, and I would see people queuing up to charge their electricity.
To buy power.
Now, you just there, Q Power, and it's done. You don't have to move. All you have to move is your fingers, and it's done.
Exactly.
And you know, so we're embracing it already, and I think we're not kind of pushing at a closed door. We're pushing at an open door because people are already getting used to it. As I said, you know, sending money, receiving money, and paying for various services. Applying for your driving license, I just did it from my desk. I didn't have to. So we're already embracing a lot of digital services.
And one thing I want to say is that it's not about, you know, us building the infrastructure now. Now the question comes, you know, what are you going to be building with us with this infrastructure? Because now this opens up the platform for all of these big ideas that are coming. You understand, for building some local content. So, and this is quite very important for, you know, the organizations to know, for individuals to know that you have now this platform to be able to build, you know, and grow very easily.
Yes.
And
what next after this launch? what should we expect from QCell again after this launch?
You don't want to give away too much.
Exactly. I think we'll leave it at that. But anyway, what we can always provide you that, look, we will be the one ahead, always innovating, and then others will follow. And this is a promise that we ensure that we always keep, and we will ensure that the Gambians are not going to be, you know, anywhere behind, you know, where others are ahead in other countries, you know, in terms of digital transformation.
And to the guy who I was responding to yesterday online, and any other Gambian, look, we talk about creating an enabling environment. They've done that with this. Bring your big ideas, as he says, and test them. Don't just say it can't happen because it's little Gambia. Don't be small-minded, you know, come with your great ideas. If these guys were small-minded, we would not have this. So please, you know, don't limit yourself and don't let your mind limit you.
So thank you very much, Ahmad, for talking to us on QTV this morning. And of course, I mean, we are happy to know this is done by Gambians and it belongs to the Gambia. Yeah, so thank you, Ahmad.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
That was the Chief Technical Officer, QCell, Ahmad Jah. So viewers will take a short break. After the break, the program continues. We are back. This is QTV This Morning. I am Ibrahim Abalde. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll be talking about the 18 UTG 2026 convocation. Mr. Adedrame, that's what we'll be talking about.
We will. There was a time when the Gambia did not even have a university, and here we are talking about the 18th convocation by the University of the Gambia, and we have here to discuss Dr. Lang Sanyang. He's the chairman of the UTG convocation ceremony. And
Hadiba Tunkara, senior lecturer, Department of Nursing and Reproductive Health Committee member.
Welcome to the program, both.
Thank you very much for having us.
Now, I'm always looking forward to those ones where, like last year, civil engineering, they said the first ever. And then we had dentistry recently, the first ever.
Yes.
So are there any other first evers before we get to the ones that are the usual suspects? Dr. Sanyang, if I could come to you first.
Thank you very much, Adi, for having us. And good morning to our listeners and audience, viewers, right? Yes, we have another first ever.
Okay.
And that is the highest level in terms of academic degrees.
Okay.
That's a PhD in law.
Oh, wonderful.
For the first time in the history of the University of the Gambia, we have now got homegrown PhD graduates in the area of law.
Okay, wonderful.
Yes. Okay, interesting. So, I mean, let's talk about the preparation for the convocation, 18th convocation of the University of the Gambia. How prepared are we? And how far have we gone?
Good. Very good question. Yes, we've been involved in this preparation, and we have just 2 more days.
Indeed.
Inshallah, Saturday, all of us would converge at our Farawa Bantan campus. As far as the preparation is concerned, we are at an advanced stage because we've done a lot of groundworks as we speak.
Okay.
The grounds for the convocation is ready. We've been involved in raising funds, although we are still continuing the fundraising, that is the resource mobilization.
That never ends. Yes.
Yes. Knowing fully well that this is a big event, and we are inviting some high-profile international guests who are part of our partners. It involves a lot of preparations. As far as the preparation is concerned, as we speak, almost all the students have collected their gowns. And in terms of the grounds, as I said, tomorrow, this evening, sorry, the setting of the tents would begin.
Okay.
And also in terms of the guest who would be arriving today, our first guest, who is the special guest of the University of the Gambia and the government of the Gambia, would be arriving. Okay. He was the former president of African Development Bank, Dr. Adesina.
Adesina, yes.
Yes, we expecting him this evening.
Okay.
So he's our special guest.
Okay. So Hadi, how is your department, preparing students for this graduation and beyond?
And what are the numbers, more importantly?
Thank you so much. Good morning, viewers.
Good morning.
They always say that they wanted to fake it. Last year we were here, and definitely this year we are here. We thank God for it.
And we'll be here
Inshallah, many years. We thank God for it. And before moving on, we just want to appreciate QTV for the opportunity, because every time when we have our convocation, we are given this opportunity. So
you're welcome.
Thank you so much. Talking about the preparation, we are in high gear. Everything is almost level. Looking at my department, which is Department of Nursing and Reproductive Health, we are well prepared, because I think we have many reasons to celebrate. Especially in the medical aspect, the Medical School of Medicine, where in most of the time it was viewed as the profession of the male kid. If you talk about doctor, the face of the individual that people look at is a male.
Yeah.
And we are trying to balance it now. If you look at the graduates from the School of Medicine and Allied Health Science, we have 152 graduating, and among them, 89 of them are female.
Wow.
And looking at the medicine itself, 58 are graduating, 29 female, 29 male. So we are trying to balance it now. And nursing, which is my department, we have 49 graduating, 33 of them are female.
One of whom happens to be the daughter of our assistant editor, Babukar Sise.
Good,
Sorry,
good.
Babukar. His daughter is one of them.
Also, so congratulations also, Babukar. So we are doing well.
Yeah.
We are doing well. Definitely the strategies that we put in place to promote female education is really working. And I think we have a cause to celebrate.
Very much so,
Yeah.
very much so. I mean, one of the things that maybe it's a kind of beyond this, but in terms of how the numbers have risen over the years, do you have a sense of, percentage-wise over the last, because since I've been here 6 years now, every year it's gone up, and I'm told that this year's convocation will be the largest ever in terms of the number of graduates. Do you have that global figure?
Yes.
Yeah.
As we speak, for this year, we are graduating 1,633 graduates. Last year, I cannot remember the figures off head, but it was far below that.
Yeah.
So this year,
1,633.
1,633.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's what we are graduating. And in most of our programs, you can see they are female dominated.
Yeah.
The biggest schools, business school, arts and science, medicine, all of this we have more female. It's the education. That is why the overall we have more male graduating than female, but it's because education, that's where we have more male than female as far as almost all the programs are concerned. And in fact, one of the most interesting bit for me, you look at the PhD program, we have women taking up even in our PhD program. Although we have more male than female, but it's interesting to see that women are definitely advancing in the area of higher degrees, right? Yes.
Dr. Hadi, how prepared are your students to, enter the medical, workforce?
Yes, our students are well prepared because our programs are designed in such a way that we prepare them for the job. It includes both theory and practice. And throughout the years, we have different length of program. Like in nursing, the BSc is 4 years. Medicine, 6 to 7 years. So during this duration of training, the students are exposed to different clinical postings where they are expected to work after graduation. So they are well prepared, and many of courses required external examinations. We have external examiners coming from outside to have an external look of their competency, and all of them graduating, they were able to pass through the examination. So our students, their competency meets the international standard.
Okay.
So we are really confident that we are graduating very highly competent students. Work staff.
Okay.
Yes.
And I can second that by the fact that when I was in the UK, they used to come here to steal our nurses, or recruit as they called it, because obviously they could offer them. And that's always a danger, isn't it?
Yes.
Because, because they're trained to such a high standard that they can be poached by these other countries. And I guess there's nothing we can do about that, because, people want to move for what they might consider better opportunities, they'll move, But, that said, but Dr. Sanyang, if I could come back to you, I mentioned the fact that we had, for the first time, people graduating in civil engineering at the last one. And this is about, we keep talking about sovereignty. Before that, if you wanted a civil engineer, they had to come from, Ghana, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, somewhere else. But now, so what's the number? Because I'm always intrigued about that particular thing, because, these are the people who end up physically building a nation, our roads, our bridges, and these sorts of things.
Okay.
So what are the numbers?
For the engineering and architectural program,
yes,
we have 28 students graduating.
Which is good.
And the reason is the other parts of the engineering program is now moved to USET.
Right.
So we should be expecting those who are probably in design and architectural design, those are the ones who would be coming to the university.
Yes.
But the civil engineering, electronic engineering, and others will now be moved to USET.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, but that's the numbers for that particular school.
Okay.
Yes.
So how, over the years, this is the 18.
Yes.
What improvement have the UTG made as far as convocation is concerned?
Thank you once again. Probably I have missed out to congratulate our graduates. It's been a long and a rough journey
of course.
for them.
Okay.
So they deserve to be congratulated, and congratulations to all of you.
Sure.
Convocation, which others call graduation, is an important step in the life of a university or in a university system. Because this is where and when those who have been found worthy in terms of learning and character are awarded degrees at the end of their programs, depending on which program you are doing. Other programs take 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Medicine goes up to 7 years. So it's usually a very rough and hard journey to go through that and being able to pass your exams and also meet the character part of the requirements. So it's worth celebrating. This is the moment when the university celebrates, the families, and of course our graduates all celebrate together. So it's a very important moment for us.
Okay.
In terms of progress and change that has happened, in terms of our convocation, if you recall, our convocations, we used to host them at different places.
I was going to say.
One of them, we used to be at McCarthy Square, we used to be at the Q City, and we are very much grateful to Mohamed Jah for hosting us for so many years when we were in great need. And thank you very much, Mohamed, for that support, and of course the team at the Q Group. And today we are proud to say we are on our own campus.
Oh, wow.
So it is worth celebrating. It's a state-of-the-art campus, which the government has done very well to give us that campus. And I can tell you, when you talk about our numbers, one of the reasons why we are able to have such numbers is because of that learning space. A lot of investment has gone in there, because otherwise we would not have had the space to accommodate all of these
different
people,
schools
much more to sit today to celebrate this achievement in terms of the numbers. So there has been a marked improvement in terms of using our own space, in terms of the way it is organized, structured, because we've been learning over time. So every year we are able to improve on one or two things, which is a good...
So Dr. I like highlighting...
I did find the figure, by the way. It was 1,228.
That was last year?
Last year. So 405 more.
More,
Yes, this year.
So normally I highlight quality.
Yes.
And quantity. You can graduate, I mean, a lot of students. But what is the quality?
Thank you. I can tell you the graduates from the University of the Gambia, as attested by Adi, we have been having impressive feedback from the public. And I can tell you a clear testament is you can find our graduates working with not just local institutions, but even international institutions. I'm sure at QTV here, we have got some of our graduates.
We have a lot of them.
Who, of course, we are very much proud of, because we follow them.
Absolutely.
And the international circles as well. I can tell you, we have got alums working in big positions, like, for example, London MRC. We've got one of our very best, Dr. Babukar Ba, who is now an associate professor. He is the head of data unit, and is hired as an international staff, and not only had, but he was head-hunted. We've got, if you go to African Development Bank, you have many. You go to Islamic Development Bank, is the same. Locally, we've even got permanent secretaries who had graduated from the University of the Gambia. Not going very far, my very good colleague here, who is now an associate professor, you know, graduated from the University of the Gambia.
He's also a product of the university.
Yes, he's a product of the university. And I can tell you, as we speak, we have even got what we call homegrown full professors. The likes of Professor Lamin Fati, Professor Banna Sawane. They are full professors, and they all studied at the University of the Gambia. And when it comes to their delivery in terms of research and also teaching, they are exceptional. I can tell you, we are very proud. And you have a lot of our alumni teaching even at the University of the Gambia.
It's like we should have confidence in the quality now.
I certainly do. Dr. Hadi Tungaraba, if I could come back to you. The day itself, what can we expect? We know the Chancellor, of course, is His Excellency the President. You're moving to different, your own setting, as it were, your own home. But what can we expect on the day? Dr. Sanyang has said, the public are invited, of course, friends and family will be there. But what can we expect on the day in terms of?
Yeah, we expect that we should start early, especially we are calling on the graduates and the invitees to please come early, because that will help us to be able to organize. People will be able to settle down.
And what do we mean by early? Can we give them a time?
7 a.m.
Yeah.
If they can
Did you
be
hear
there.
that?
I think 7 a.m.
So that day you have to
we'll
wake
be very
up
happy
early.
if we can have everybody around at 7 a.m. Well seated, so that we'll be able to organize, and also our guests, when they come, everybody is settled down. The Gambia is the smiling coast. So let's just manifest our character
and keep it up.
And keep it up. Let us ensure that we go early, organize ourselves, sit well, and wait for the guests to come.
Thank you. Just wanted to add onto what she said, especially with the graduates. That day they should come very early, so that there would be orderliness.
Yes.
Because the way they queue, they process. So this should be in a very orderly manner. And also, if parents can come early, so that they will have very good sitting position to be able to visibly see their children graduating. As far as the day is concerned, we expect all of the graduates to be on the ground latest 7:30.
7.
Yes.
Oh wow!
Latest
early.
Latest 7:30. The graduates.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And the rest of our guests, we should be there not later than 8 o'clock. We are all aware that our president, who is the chancellor of the university, is very timely. When he says 10, he arrives at 10, and we are assured that he will be there on time. So the procession begins, especially with the students, will begin earlier than 10. So they'll have to process, take their sitting before the president arrives and when the president arrives. So to avoid any disorderliness, we are pleading with everybody so that we are able to leave the grounds early. The April is a very hot time now, especially at that end. It gets very hot.
Yes.
So the earlier we are able to converge and do this business, the better for us.
So I'd like to know, how is the university aligning education with national development?
Thank you very much. The university is going through what we call continuous curriculum transformation. And as we speak, the university is working closely with the ministries. And the reason why we find ourselves doing that, we feel that we should not stand as an ivory tower, but instead we should link ourselves with the development objectives of the country. Because you do not only churn out people from the university and just give them theoretical knowledge, and what they study do not resonate with what exists on the ground. That doesn't make any. The purpose of the government taking this initiative is to be able to graduate people, to be able to transform this country to an envious level, which we are, and we are engaging. The government, quite recently, we have even started signing MOUs with ministries. And we are starting to collaborate, in fact, in terms of supporting them in meeting their development objectives as enshrined in the National Development Blueprint. So we are closely working with them to ensure that we do things that are much more impactful than just standing to give our students more only theoretical knowledge.
So
to add on to that, my school, which is the School of Medicine, we're really working to ensure that the health needs of the Gambians are met. If you look at the medical program now, we have what we call the postgraduate medical program. And they're in homegrown consultants that are specialized in various areas. We have consultants graduating now, like consultant in surgery, consultants in neurosurgery, and these were conditions, if you have them, especially neurosurgery, if you have a condition that needs those type of surgery, you need to go outside. Now we have them around.
Oh,
like
I know
John
because
Jabang,
I emceed the surgical conference last week.
John Jabang is one of the consultants in neurosurgery. And in my department, we also have now postgraduate programs in different nursing disciplines. We have people graduating as pediatric nurses, anesthetic nurses, midwives with master's, postgraduate diploma in midwifery, peri-op. So definitely we are having people specializing in different disciplines so that we are able to meet the needs of the Gambians.
So you asked about quality and you asked about national development. There's an elephant in the room, artificial intelligence. The reason I mention this is because we did a story where we went to UTG and some students were blunt. They said, when I get a question, I just feed it into one of these, either DeepSeek, ChatGPT, whatever it gives me is what I present. How do we combat that sort of thing? It's the reality.
Thank you very much.
I was shocked when the reporter came back with that footage.
Thank you very much. In fact, when you mentioned that, it reminded me, as we speak in terms of AI, in fact, the University of the Gambia with MRC and the Gambia Bureau of Statistics has just signed an MOU to establish a center of excellence for artificial intelligence at the university.
Right, wonderful.
Which is a plus.
Yeah, very much. Yeah.
And it's a new development. In terms of the use of AI is here to stay. And nobody can do anything about that. But I know some lecturers are able to detect. Because, for example, the UTG, we've got Turnitin, is a plagiarism checker.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
right?
Yes.
And we encourage our faculty, when they give assignments to students, when the students submit, they should be able to run a Turnitin plagiarism check
plagiarism.
to be able to determine, the level of plagiarism that is acceptable, which is not acceptable. I remember one of the assignments I gave my students in project management. One of the groups just went on AI and
regurgitated it.
But if you read through when this is purely AI,
you will understand.
So I remember my colleague, Dr. Belford, who is very strict. He was part of the panelists. It was a presentation. When he looked at it, he just said, "Oh, we are not accepting this. In fact, I'm not going to score you. This is purely." So when we ran it, we realized that yes, these students use AI. So we encourage students to use AI, but there is what we call ethical or responsible use of AI.
Well, using
you
AI,
cannot avoid using it, but when you use it, make sure that you are able to review and ensure that, because sometimes AI gives you
the
wrong information.
And we've done it, we've done tests.
I have even realized that sometimes AI will, an article that does not exist, AI will generate a reference for you. So you shouldn't be lazy. If you use it, try to confirm certain things to make sure that
you should be able to use your brain.
Yes, exactly.
It will help. So finally, Doctor, remind us about the day before we close this segment.
Yeah, the convocation is on Saturday at Faraba, and we are calling all the Gambians. This is a national program because a day where we celebrate our people, our children, our people that have gone through the university, and their successes. And we've talked about a lot of gains that we made as a nation. So it's a national celebration, and we are calling everybody to come and join us. Let's celebrate. It's Saturday, and let's be there as early as 7:30.
Thank you.
That's crucial.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lang
And they can watch
Sanyang,
it on
for coming.
QTV, of course.
Yes, okay, on QTV as well. And of course, Dr. Hadi Tunkaraba for coming on the program. I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Of luck for Saturday. I believe, everything will go according to plan.
And we will be there for real, not AI.
Yeah.
We will be
there.
Yes, thank you.
Inshallah.
So viewers, this is all we have. We'll be back here on Monday for another edition of QTV This Morning. And thanks to my co-host, Mr. Dedrame, for at least saving the week Thank you,
Yes,
Mr.
I've been here throughout the week. Yes.
Yeah, so we are welcoming everybody. You can also come, pass by and check our smart building.
It really does exist.
on
and
QCell Avenue.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so until then, bye-bye.